Now you see the fake smile. Here I am this summer following my father's footsteps. I've already learned to do that. My eyes aren't smiling, but the bottom half of me is. So what do you do when you have that kind of upbringing? Leave home early, go to art school at 16 in Dallas. They rented me an apartment and drove me there. And by the time you get to college, you're just ready for normal. And I met Mr. Normal the very first day, although he can't be that normal because he married me. My husband walked up and I knew I was going to marry him. He was an 18-year-old virgin and adorable, and we've been together for 35 years. You also start to bond with your professors, the people who, are nice dads and get you into college and do those kind of things. So this man played a huge part in my life. After painting there for 4 years, we married our junior year, which most people were running around like doing orgies and smoking pot. We were like registering for blenders and stuff. No one could understand why we were getting married at 21. But the next year we graduated and moved to England to go to school. We got there very early, and the friends that were in the graduate common room were all medics. So I've always loved medics. They're hardworking. They've gone to as many years of schooling as I have, and they're overachievers. So there's another picture of overachieving. I call myself the most overeducated white trash artist there is. And I tried to quit being an artist. How does one do that? Well, I'm married. They've gotten my butt to Oxford. My butt that, grew up on a border town, Eagle Pass, Texas, lived in a trailer house. And, I wanted to quit. I was burnt out. I was just like, I've been making art since I could walk. Before I could walk, I'm done. And both my husband and my mom are like, we got you here. No, 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 get your shit together. And I said, oh, I want a baby. I want to quit. And they're like, what would you want? And I tried to get a cat. I really did. And the woman on the phone said, oh, you're American. You're just going to leave again, and hung up on me. So I checked with my tutor, and she said, do you think it's going to affect your art career? I said, no, I'm from Texas. We just give birth and keep on going. And so with her permission, I was probably pregnant 9. I'm looking over here like he knows. So I needed to get a baby out of Oxford and a degree, because that's crazy overachieving shit happening again. There I am. Look at the face. This is my dissertation final thesis at Oxford. And I'm like, oh no, there's no 10-pound baby to be seen here. Just ignore that. Just keep asking me these ridiculous questions. I've always kind of been an outsider in the art world, even though I have the degree. I just push limits. I remember I was in a lecture, and this very famous artist who I won't name who did all of her work about nipples. I was quietly breastfeeding in the back of the room, and they asked me to leave and to quit. And I'm like, yeah. So I came away from Oxford with a lot of pent up anger. I had a headmaster there that wanted to call me in to discuss breastfeeding pretty much every chance he went. And I even had friends, grown up friends, come with me. So things that went down that in America would cost someone their job. You call home to Texas, mom, and you just suck it up. We got your ass to Oxford. So a lot of stuff. So you start dealing. Really, it's just it's the cheapest therapy of all. So here's a piece called Mother. And my mother was, a strength, but she was also a sledgehammer. And the little gold pea inside the glass is me. She's either going to protect me so much, or she's going to smash the shit out of me. This was series. So we've come back from England. We've, set up house for, I have trying to learn to drive. I've got a new baby, and I'm still making art. I had been in the art world of conceptual art because I didn't want to be a painter. My father was a painter. I couldn't be a painter. And so everything I made was pretty much conceptual. I needed to leave the painting world because of the chemicals and the printmaking. So I was doing work like this. Whatever I was going through at the time was what I was making art about. The piece on the right, left, I don't know. The volcanic tit. It's Latin, and it has human breast milk butter in it, and it's called Mons Flammos Eruptus Mammilis, which is Latin for flaming erupting mounds. And this was a piece I made when I got back to Texas after Oxford, and I was still so mad about the weirdness of the dude, the headmaster, wanting to talk about breastfeeding and being kicked out. Like, I was installing my senior show, and they asked me to go feed the baby in the loo, and you know, still mad. I was the first woman who gave birth at Oxford where they didn't bung the baby in the river. Basically, I was married, and I went and said that once at a dinner party, and it got really quiet, which I thought was really cool. So this piece is 5 years later. I'm not nursing, and so I had to go and ask people at La Leche League to donate our milk to be an art project. And so, yeah, it's a crazy world. The piece that looks like, it's called Vacuum, and it has 6 years collection of human skin, which is household dust. You guys are medics or doctors, 99.9% is human skin. And this piece was reviewed in New York, and the reviewer, obviously a young girl, she said, I don't really get why it's called Vacuum. She probably didn't sound that dumb, but I was reading it. And it's because very, very wealthy people might never have changed a vacuum bag. I guess vacuum bags look differently now, so maybe I'll have to rethink that piece of art. And the piece in the background is called Other People's Lives, and it is soiled pillowcases that people have slept on from traumatic times in their lives. So I put a call out. I'd like to do work with other people, and people sent me in from mental hospitals. I got some from ex-husband, ex-wife, come back. I've got 2 ex-wives. So it was really an easy piece to make in Texas. I tried to quit being an artist again, and it just comes back. This piece is called 5,000 Trashy Romance Novels, and it's about my mother. This piece is called Other People's Lives. This piece was this is when I had a toddler. So this is 6,000 gallons of cherry Jello that showed at the Art League, and it had floating in it, I forgot what they're called. Oh, that's great. Yeah, McDonald's toys, Happy Meal toys. And I was dealing with like that, cleaning up Jello, toys, trying to raise a kid in a small Texas town that really didn't understand conceptual art. So my career started here in Houston, making those kind of things. I started when I hit 40. This is still not therapy. I've had, second kid, still trying to be the perfect mom, send thank you notes, have, the pearls, and, be the good little wife and artist and do everything perfect, everything perfect. When I turned 40, my mother said, come get all of your dolls. They're rotting in the barn. And so I couldn't get rid of them without painting them first. And they had lots of issues. They were rotten. They had snake eggs in them, a lot of problems. Well, at that same time, I was having problems. I had a full hysterectomy, gallbladder removal, not much left. So I really threw myself into just painting. I did, I think, 75 doll paintings. The good news about my mom and dad, well, dad's out of the picture by now, is she raised me very multicultural. She was ahead of her time. She ethnicity was fluid. I was dressed boy, girl, whatever I wanted. She was way ahead of her time. And my collection of dolls was a huge ranging collection. Any questions as we go through here? I tried to quit being an artist. First baby in Oxford, second baby, and then the third. This is not my baby, but he's a dear friend who needed a kidney very bad. And we had been working on it for 2 years. Then I, at a coffee shop one morning, I said, why do you need a kidney? He goes, yeah, I've been on dialysis for 5 years, and it's just, I said, well, I'll give you a kidney. I've already had 2 kids, full hysterectomy, full gallbladder. There's not much shit. Let's just, yeah, sure. And he's like, if you're serious, if you're really serious, you have to call this number. Well, you call that number, and then they just basically try to get rid of you for like months. But I called it every day. And then they were like, finally, they're like, you weigh too much. And I said, okay, I can drop weight. There's only, that's easy. Fries, he dies. Bread, he's dead. And that's what worked for me. And we worked very hard on that. I would only lose weight for a friend like that. We were 2 years in the running of getting ready for this. We had a close, because it's a chain. Y'all know all these things. It's a chain of 6, and I was up in the woods, and someone got sick, and then it got canceled. So that was one summer. A whole nother summer goes by, and we're scheduled to give a kidney. And I think the reason I felt like my friend, I was shocked his own family wasn't coming forward, because here I am trying to make connections, making people, my family. How do you do that? Give a kidney. I'm like, I had already, so I was basically checked into the hospital. We are given a kidney. I had my fingernails, toes done. I have new pajamas. I'm gonna sit back and watch the kids decorate the Christmas tree and be like, you do it, Mama gave a kidney. And they said, oh, we need your kidney is going to UCLA, and they need a mandatory mammogram. I said, well, I had one at 40 and I'm only 44. They're like, I know, it's just a quick thing, just down there. You get in the robe, the white robe, you're in the room with 30 women. And then I saw the man's face. And he's the guy, the tech dude. And he, obviously he hadn't hit one of those in a long time, because it caught him off guard. And very quickly, they're like, we need to get a hold of your husband. They open the door, my husband's being called, and all of those 30 women that were in the room are gone, just gone. And then we're walking slowly down the hall, and I'm telling him no. He goes, you have breast cancer, you're not giving a kidney on Wednesday. And I'm like, dude, we have been working on this. I am giving a kidney. This is happening. And I get a call in the hallway while we're walking through, and the lady that was my go-to kidney girl, where I'd ask all my questions and stuff, she rang, and all I could think of was, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She goes, I am not calling about a kidney. She goes, I'm calling to let you know I'm a breast cancer survivor, and this is the shittiest day of your life, but it's going to get better starting right now. We will take care of you. So I wind up in the Kleenex room. I think we even have a Kleenex room there. I'm not having it. Oh, I am not. I am given a kidney. You people are wrong. And very quickly, I'm taken to the head of Methodist, Dr. Barbara Bass. And I remember in my mind, she was like the queen. Like, she had a brooch, and she had on a really sweet, so it was obviously not her day and she just looked all encompassing. And she's like, you were so generous. We will take care of this. You can pick your new breast. We're going to make this all happen. And then I had to go drink margaritas with my friend and break the chain. And it's hard to process. Whew, let me take some water. Questions so far? So now it's the first time in my life where I can actually make art that means something and that can help other people. And I figure, all of a sudden, I feel like I have a purpose. I am not just trying, self-reflection, pleasing, who knows, my parents. And I realized that there's women out there that were laying on the sofa that had breast cancer. And I didn't want to just be laying on the sofa. So the surgery set, they found cancer in one. I said, I'm a symmetry girl. I like matching lamps beside my bed. We're gonna take them both off. So we get to that point, and it was just easier. It was just an easier decision. And of course, they don't really give you much information about what's going to happen, because they take away the boobs, and then the dude or dudette steps in and puts in the fake ones, and then you're told about it later. And at that point, they don't really know if you're going to live or die. They've taken it off the lab. You guys know. So in the time leading up to this, it was not very long because they wanted them off. I just threw myself into making art, mad art. I knew that lady in Kansas who sang in the church choir could not say fuck to cancer. She was thinking it. She was holding it all in. So I felt like I owed it to those women who did not already have an out loud platform to make art about breast cancer and about how I truly felt. And I don't think you get really good art without pain. You just get decor. So I threw myself in there. I'm like, these puppies are coming off. They were fabulous. They fed 2 children. And so I'm like, let's do it. Let's document the fuck out of this. And so we did. And I painted with them. I painted on them. I rolled around. I cried on the paper, all that stuff people like. I took my dolls and ground off their boobies with the grinder. At this point, I'm still thinking I'm going to go with one. I made this piece, and if you look closely, you can see that they really are printmaking at its best, and it's called 1 in 8. The 1 in 8 is 1 in 8 women get breast cancer. Now it's higher if you're African American or Jewish, 1 in 8, and they're getting younger and younger and younger. My cancer doctor, Dr. Angel Rodriguez, he had a 11-year-old and a 19-year-old. So we have to start asking ourselves why, and I now know why. Let's go back to the art. The rust and the lids, these were from toxic barrels that just conveniently were down my street. I live in the artist hood neighborhood. And I thought it was really interesting that the rust looked a lot like cancer cells and how it was growing. It also had a video, and we documented. You do really crazy things. People ask me, how do you really make it in the art world? You have to be willing to do what no one else will do. How do you make it in comedy? How do you make it? You have to go where you're not comfortable going. And then you're helping someone else who can't do that. So behind the mask, I'm crying. This is Valentine's Day. And they're coming off the next day, and I know it. So I did this performance crying. And then here we go, next day. What really prepares you? I did a boob casting session, had parties, said goodbye to them, a lot of therapeutic things. And then I had a fabulous doctor, Dr. Barbara Bass. And I said to her that I was an artist and that everything I did in my life, I probably would make art about. Would she be so kind as to do a performance piece with me? Basically, I just asked her to photograph during the surgery, and we worked on this together, and it became a book. She put the light over my heart, over me like a heart, and I'm just really grateful that she saved my life, and she's just a badass. So here I am. This is what does everyone want in the middle of the book? my boob, just like Hugh Hefner. But we'll skip that one, it's gross. Okay, so we wake up the next day, and my husband's leaning over me, and he goes, really good call on taking both of them. There was cancer in one so uniformly filled that we didn't even see it. And then the 3 that we thought was in one, there's 7. And oh, and down here you can see I've got a pirate patch on my eye because they scratched my cornea on top of it. Like, I'm like, if it isn't bad enough, my friends all came to see me and I had a pirate mask. I just thought the only thing I can do is to document this. And this is all medical. If anyone wants to skim down and read that. At this point, whenever we were talking to my, I called in my ornithologist because my cancer doctor. I was in the gift shop and my husband took all this facts and all the notes and I was in the gift shop. I couldn't process it. So basically I heard that I was very famous because they had so many meetings about the varieties of cancer that I had because so they called it the Whitman's sampler, like the candies. I grew up on an abandoned Air Force base in Eagle Pass, Texas, next to a feedlot where the water runoff from the feedlot, we were told not to drink it. And my mom didn't think that was a big deal and we drank it. I'm taking a little pause, drinking some water. So now I have the fake boobies in. We are out of surgery. It's been 3 weeks and I am still infected, heavily infected, not good. But what does an artist do when they're heavily affected? Make art about it. So the juice that I was having to extract, or my sweet husband was extracting, let's paint with it. Let's make dolls. Let's do whatever. Basically, I knew that my body was rejecting it. Like a splinter in your finger, as Grandma says, it will work itself out, and that it was never going to be good. I made my plastic surgeon mad. Dr. Warren Ellsworth III, his feelings got hurt because I didn't want to stay. And so he left me hugely disfigured. The good news is you can already see in this image, I feel better. I'm standing up. I have not been standing for 3.5 weeks. I've just been like basically they would call up my husband, they would say, lift up her shirt. If the red line is going to her heart, bring her in. So I knew it just wasn't me. And this is how scarred up he left me. And here I am just documenting it. Not happy. See, these things are called dog ears and they rub and it hurt. And he actually, I heard that he didn't even do the surgery. I collapsed outside of his office and they admitted me. And he was saying we were doing the surgery the next day, but I was too sick. And so he sent his intern. This is all. I also officially tried to make some official whatever, but you can't because, oh my God, you got to have tits. You're a woman. Your man will leave you. You're not a woman without your tits. Anyway, don't get me started. Okay, so I come out of that and I've got these little arms that don't really work. So all I can do is paint little tiny titties of every kind and color of friends. And that's what I did. I just threw myself into painting titties with my little tiny arms. The patron saint of breast cancer, St. Agatha. So she was depicted in the 16th century with her breast on a tray. So I threw myself into this, and you can see there's everybody in here. About the same time, I'm figuring I don't really want to stay mangled. I don't want to be rebuilt because it's kind of like your son has died. They're going to stuff him and they're going to put him in the corner. He's going to look just the same, but there's nothing there. There's no nipple. There's no feeling. There's no connection. And they put these plastic things in that block, get this, cancer can grow again. Now, if you get scraped to the bone, cancer cannot fucking grow again. So we need to come to Jesus moment in this world, okay? Don't get me started. That's a whole nother lecture. But during this time, I found wonderful Dr. Franklin Rose, and he does all the ladies. I mean, if you want boobies, get boobies by all means. I love fake things. Eyelashes, hair, teeth. I love it. Basically, drag queen. But he had never had a flatty. He didn't even know what that was. And I started talking to him. He's like, oh, I can do that. I can clean you up. So he was kind enough in his organization for free. And, I think when he first took me, I think he thought he was going to convince me to have the fake ones in. And then I brought in my museum show, and he's looking through the book. He's like, oh no, we can't give you boobies now. You're famous. So also that healing father presence was mentally also helping. I'm still trying to achieve harmony, mental health with all of this. I had the most fun doing this. People always pick their own nipple color. I have no idea. I would give them a choice, and nearly every single time they would go with their own skin color. So the only thing you can really do in the art world, because we're not suing people, you know, we make art every day, or we garden, or we were like taking kids to Boy Scout shit. I didn't have time to really fight what I felt like he had done to me. And so revenge paintings are a really big thing. And this is a piece of art. At this point, I've started having all of my cancer friends from Flat and Fabulous send me their scarred up pictures, the images of what their surgeons have been, and we are linked. We are all over the world. And the talk is, well, there's no need for that. And this is a piece of art I made, and I dedicated it to Dr. Warren Ellsworth III. And basically, I knew, this is going to make y'all really nervous. I knew he was going to fight me, complain, throw a fit. So this was before cell phones. I went to the Spy store on Westheimer, and I got a pin that recorded him. So my husband, and it's all recorded. And it's, so whenever you walk by her nipples, it has a motion sensor, and it starts having him, it starts his words. And we actually had to turn it off because the cats were setting it off. Anyway, so the best fun in the art world is to just revenge. So I had a show. What do you do? We also had a mammogram machine there, and Wayne Gilbert gave me a big show at G Gallery. We had booby cupcakes. I just threw myself into making art for the other people about breast cancer. Well, if you're really passionate and willing to go do things that other artists aren't, and really, really willing to be completely out there with yourself, it gets you museum shows. Bada bing. So this is the show I had at the CAM. It was more of a tiny retrospective, or whatever they call that. At this time, I'm heavily into my Flat and Fabulous online group, and I felt like doctors needed to hear more about these women, because there was no connection. And we were finding out that young doctors don't even know. That's what they're told. So during this time, some of the words are in this piñata that was boobs, and their names are covered, and it has all these little candies that say "fuck tit cancer," and they're pink. And then I asked 2 breast cancer survivors to attack it. Here's the video. Okay. Still no questions?
There is a question, but
Okay.
if you want to play the video, we can do the question after, whatever works for you.
Okay. So let's stop it and do the question.
So someone's asking about the Flat and Fabulous group, and is there a local chapter?
Yes. And the very first time we met at the bar called The Flat. And we went out, and one of the women's car had a flat tire. But yes, it's everywhere. Absolutely. So please share that news. It is, what happened was I had my husband start one, and then the next day on Flat and Fabulous, he's a graphic designer, so he started it. And the next day I found the real Flat and Fabulous. So I just moved over and started using all of their information. I didn't even think about mine anymore. I never even went to it. Well, you know, too many cooks in a kitchen, and many years later, people want to shut down that one. So they start using mine, even though it's not mine, it's just everybody's. So yeah, we need all the volunteers. Where was I? Okay. Next question. So we have the video. video. And then I click here, and then we go hit that. So the sweet, cute little girl in the pink, she's like the idea of the cute breast cancer survivor. She has no body fat, she looks good in a paper sack. And I realized that we filled, this is a bigger piñata than we made with the last show. And we filled it too full, and it's too big, and we're in the museum, and I need someone else to help with it, to beat it, and to help the husband. See, the man in the pink tie in the back, because it's super heavy. And out of nowhere, this couple came up, and they were supposed to be going to a flower show or some gardening outdoor thing, and they got lost or got canceled, and they came to the show without knowing what it was. And he said, I would be honored to do this. My wife has been battling cancer. And she, comes up, we shake hands. I said, and she goes, I think I want to take off my shirt. And I said, by all means, do whatever makes you comfortable. And I think it was truly one of the most emotional and powerful moments in my life to watch how this went down.
We don't hear the audio, just FYI. I don't know if that's key.
Oh, well, maybe we can skip it if you don't hear the audio, because there's lots of, you get the idea, lots of beating, lots of cheering and screaming and violence. Growing up in Mexico, we always had piñatas for celebrations. And here she comes. So this is a woman that's just in the group. And she has what we call it in the cancer world. She has, she has the Buddha belly and the mom look. All the meds make you bloat. Look at her go. Like, she's like, let me show you. Let me show you how to do this. I was also at a fundraiser where I heard people say, please open your checkbooks so that the men won't leave their women. I'm like, any man that leaves you because you don't have tits, not good. All right, we're moving on. You get the idea. I mean, now I need it to go. Is it going? So at this point, the roller coaster of my life, I found a purpose in making art, which I think will please the parents. I've done what they wanted me to do, which is like become an artist. I've had my museum show. I've started taking the things from all my psychoses and lives and putting together. I realized now that I've been painting dollies, which don't have nipples either, and I start combining this work together. Well, the day after the museum show, still a lot of fun, a lot of people in town, but 2 weeks later, I'm in a parking lot losing my shit, crying my eyes out. And I'm like, why? So psychiatrists have been good to me. I've had to learn a lot. And first time I tried to quit making art, first baby. Second time I tried to quit making second baby. Third time, give a kidney. It's just the cheapest therapy out there. So this is some of my work. This was a photo of me at 6 or 7 in the bathtub. And if you look closely, I have little tiny stitches. And since that's the body I have now, I get to act like that. I have tea parties, I have pink hair, I get to be 6. I also draw the attention to the different ethnicities of all my dolls. And I just got to do whatever I wanted. And that is a good place to be for the art world. This is another piece. At this point, people are sending me pictures and saying, please, I'd be honored, paint me. And so I painted. Those are 1940s or 50s cake pans. So it's a pretty large piece of art if you can see that those are cake pans. Her nipples have fallen off. This is a piece called Camellias Are Prone to Spider Mites. And we have a neighbor who brought me a camellia, and he said in a very lyrical voice, "Camellias are prone to spider mites." He's on the spectrum, but what he was trying to say as he brought the flower to my husband to bring into my bedside was that good things happen to bad people. The other title I think about in this piece is my doctor, and if there are any doctors out there listening, make sure you don't fall into this. Basically, he had given the speech so many times that when he was drawing me an example, he said, and now the cells are leaving the happy ductal home. And my mind just went, happy ductal home, I gotta make a piece of art. So this is my great great grandmother's wedding dress. So along these lines, you start thinking about, was this genetics? How did I get this? Where did it come from? So I just blew up his drawing of the cancer cells around the rose, leaving the happy ductal home. He apologized. I also had all my doctors come, and I got him a little drunk at the opening, and I'm like, I really want to ask you off. You were not at the hospital. Tell me honestly. I said, he had 3 little girls. At what point would you stop buying the cancer milk? That's what we call it. And get a goat. And he goes, without even thinking, he goes, I have a goat. And I'm like, you don't. Most of America can't afford the $8 a gallon non-free. Most people have to buy the cancer-filled milk. So that's a whole other topic. Here, you got to do everything in the art world. They want you to do everything. So I made a film with little crazy bizarre dolls. And this is the water tower from my childhood. And that's actually the hair on the doll from my time period of when I was getting cancer. I lived on the abandoned Air Force Base with my mom from 6th grade till I was 16 and got into art school. When your boobies grow. This is a really great letter that she wrote to me right before my surgery. And I think anyone who's ever going to be a doctor should probably read this and kind of understand not everyone coming to you is is um, is chopped liver, you know. Um, this is what I hope to leave with you guys with. Whether or not to have breast reconstruction is your decision. And my husband put this together, and I think it's really, really good. Reasons to rebuild, reasons not to rebuild. And since we all need to know more, and the women are getting younger, you know, 27-year-olds, and you're like, I have a toddler. I don't, yeah, oh, to rebuild, it can take 2 years. I'm like, I'm not coming back up here. You have a bad gift shop. I'm not coming back up here. I have things to do. So this has been my crazy cancer story. The mom, the crazy living in bohemian lifestyle. And the good news is I feel like I'm on the other side of it. And it was Alice through the looking glass for me. This is one of the paintings from my last show that was in New York City. Thank you guys for having me. Any questions?
That was awesome, Thedra. I just want to thank you for sharing so much about your personal experiences. There's a comment I'll read really quickly in the chat from Tom Cole. It says, it's amazing how you've turned your problems into complicated and irreverent art. Thank you for showing us how pain is key to great art. I think you're living your life itself as a courageous work of art.
Thank
And
you. I
I
feel like that too.
Yeah, and I actually have a question because we were in a faculty meeting this morning talking about patient narratives and kind of how that can help physicians kind of understand different aspects of different medical diagnoses. So I'm curious if you have any other advice for physicians, because we have students, we have medical students, we have nursing staff, we have a lot of people from different backgrounds, just even on this talk. So,
Well, how we met, I think, is a great way to truly stay not so much in the mindset. I mean, be constantly looking for outside connect with other people who aren't medical. You know, I think that's important. You need to have a balance, and
yeah,
listen to the drug companies. You know, you got you can't just buy into all that. I
yeah.
mean, I did tamoxifen for 10 years. No, 5 years, and that was it. I was also very blessed that there's nothing there. I've scraped down to nothing, and it's nice and
Mhm,
smooth. And probably get some bougie tattoo of something ridiculous, but it's not coming back because there's a lot of ridiculousness. Like, don't. So I went in, and even medical doctors, women, like, don't understand why I wouldn't rebuild.
mhm.
And I think there just needs to be a lot of education. A lot of good New York Times articles have come out. I did a book, Drawing the Eye to Nothingness, and it's available on Amazon. I'm going to plug my book.
And we can
Just more
send out,
talking.
and
Just
we'll
more
send
talking.
out your that slide Stephen made, and then the links to your books. We'll send that out to everyone
Okay.
attending. Couple more
Well,
comments.
I hope I didn't traumatize anyone.
Oh no, I think it's actually really refreshing to see kind of your unfiltered perspective on this because we spend so much time in medicine being so careful, and we sometimes I think that detaches us from the emotion. So the fact that you're so open
Yes.
is really great to hear. So thank you. Um,
And I also completely understand how you do have to
mhm,
not get connected to your,
mhm,
but that's no way to live for a long time. And you're gonna have patients who just, unless you connect to me, I won't go see you, you know.
mhm.
And life's too short to spend any time with people you don't like, so
Yes,
you better like your doctor.
yes. And I have another question. Do you have so it says you mentioned that your cancer gave you your art a purpose. Do you have to have a purpose to be a good artist or vice versa?
Yes, otherwise you're just making decor. Now that's my personal, don't tell anyone in the art world I said that, but yeah, I mean, if you have to be crazy, or it's I mean, if you really, yeah. Yeah, I don't think you get the museum shows for not being truly mentally messed up. And I had the early childhood trauma and parents that there was no way. It's easy. You
Mhm,
got to have that mental illness, you know, cutting off ears and stuff.
mhm.
It's just the way it is.
So a couple more comments that I want to read real quick. Thanks for sharing your story and your art. I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation. You are fierce and an inspiration. And then Mary shared that, thank you, this was so moving. Your life is a testimony to making something bad or terrible into something productive and useful, helping and giving expression to so many. So a final question, unless anyone else has questions, is, oh, Nate has a question. So as an artist, what do you think of the metaphor of war on cancer?
War on the metaphor. Oh,
Yeah,
you know, it's just publicity bullshit. I mean, oh, don't get me started about the pink ribbon stuff.
awesome.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I do want to ask people to spread the word because, you know, pretty much all of you guys have got an auntie or someone in your family who's had breast cancer, and it can take 2 years to rebuild. The stuff, they get infected. You have to go back to the hospital. Just go flat. And, you know, there are other erogenous zones on the body, you know, the husband
Yeah.
has found them.
Well, I think that's why your work and your voice is so critical to give a different perspective to things than we would traditionally be hearing about. A final question for you. So, what's next for you?
Very blessed. I have a show in New York City, and both the boys have found girls in their lives, so I have girls, and I make art every day. But there's a lot of traveling between Philly to see this young family and Utah to see that family, and I'm hoping there's a grandkid. I don't know. Um, I know. I'm working on a series. I just spent 5 weeks in New York, and walking on the High Line, you can peer into people's homes because they've chosen $1 million homes right there, and they want people to see, and they don't shut the curtains. And it's fabulous for a voyeur like me. So that show will be at Heidi Vaughn's on my birthday, January 14th, here in Houston. So if you guys want to
Great.
come and say hi, January 14th, small gallery here in Houston, Heidi Vaughn.
January 14th of next
Remember,
year?
I only make art to get love. So if you're coming, don't come critically, just come and give me a hug, okay?
Awesome. So January 14th,
January
2023?
14th.
Oh,
I'll be 53.
that's amazing. Well, I think that's all the questions, and we want to keep everything on time. So I want to thank you again, Thedra. Thanks, Stephen, for navigating all the IT stuff and helping us too with that. And yeah, thank you so much. We'll share all of Thedra's information for everyone who's attended.
Awesome.
Thank
Peace out.
you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.